Hello all of you lovely people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com. And you know what, in an age where comic book movies are being taken more seriously than ever before as respectable works of art in their own right, it's not terribly surprising that they're also attracting dedicated actors who merely don't desire just a fun paycheck, but instead want to give themselves over to the hero or villain that they end up playing. To that end, method acting is one of the more divisive practices that a performer can take part in order to get into the character. Daniel Day-Lewis has made a veritable art form out of the method, while many find the notion to be ludicrous, excessive, and unnecessary. However, the results generally speak for themselves, and while going full method might not be for everyone, it can absolutely elevate an actor's performance if it allows them to become more believably immersed in their part. So let's take a look at 10 superhero films that went above and beyond. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 comic book movie performances only made possible by intense method acting. Number 10. Tom Holland went undercover at a high school. Spider-Man: Homecoming. Tom Holland is the first screen iteration of Peter Parker who can actually really pass for a high schooler, as evidenced by him being just 20 years old while shooting Spider-Man: Homecoming. The previous Spider-Mans were 26 and 28. God, the old fogies, says a man who's just turned 33. This was further exemplified during Holland's prep for the part, where he went undercover in a real New York high school in order to get a feel for the character and the experience of being a teenager in the Big Apple. In his own life, Holland went to a boys-only school in London, so he felt that the ruse was necessary in order to understand the dynamic of co-ed institutions. Being less of a star than either Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, Holland claims that he was able to effortlessly blend into the crowd, and being just a year or so older than the high school seniors made it very easy for him to pass. Good effort, mate. Number 9. Wesley Snipes never broke character, ever. Blade Trinity. One of the few good things to come out of Blade Trinity was the outrageous stories about Wesley Snipes' on-set behaviour, especially those relayed in recent years by Patton Oswalt, who had a small part in the movie. According to Oswalt, Snipes clashed with writer-director David S. Goyer to the point where Goyer ended up paying a gang of bikers to pretend to be his security, which reportedly only heightened Snipes' erratic behaviour. For the rest of the shoot, Snipes would only communicate with Goyer through post-it notes, but here's the kicker, he signed them from Blade. Snipes' over-the-top attitude had graduated to slinking deep into the character, to the point that even when tensions got heated on set, he kept in the Daywalker's headspace. It was mostly for nothing, though, as the film was pretty terrible and Snipes largely phoned in his performance, making it less of a Daywalker and more of a sleepwalker. Puns. I've still got them. Number 8. Jared Leto might have actually lost his mind. Suicide Squad. The stories of Jared Leto's antics while playing the Joker on set of The Suicide Squad are already the stuff of pop culture legend. In order to get into the character, he kept his co-stars on edge. He sent them condoms, anal beads, dead pigs, a live rat, bullets, and a sticky Playboy magazine to other cast members, while insisting that assistant directors refer to him as Mr. J. Leto also spoke to shamans and holy men while prepping for the part, and as soon as word of his method acting made its way online, speculation surged that Leto had fully given himself over to the clown prince of crime. It's somewhat ironic that despite all of the effort that Leto went to and how much press his obnoxious behaviour received, his role in Suicide Squad ended up being disappointingly scant, such that it was tough for audiences to have much of a bead on the character or his performance. Still, his commitment is admirable, it's just the execution that definitely was not appreciated. But he's publicly counted himself amongst those disappointed at how significantly his role was edited down. Number 7. Thomas Jane became a one-man army. The Punisher. Whatever your opinion of the 2004 Punisher movie, it's hard to deny how perfectly cast Thomas Jane was for the role, getting into some serious shape for the part. Jane, a huge Punisher fan, was so committed to the role that he went through a grueling 6-month training regime with SWAT tactics trainers, in addition to putting on more than 20 pounds of muscle. In order to become a real-life killing machine, Jane would eat 8 meals a day, along with 2 hours of weights and cardio, and was given weapons training in excess of even what's offered to military personnel, as well as a crash course in knives and military psychology. Jane did comment at the time that he wished that he was given another 3 months to feel even more prepared, but you know what? His performance as the character is easily the movie's single real success, because everything else was pretty cack, mate. Number 6. Chadwick Boseman never dropped his Wakandan accent. Captain America: Civil War. Captain America Civil War co-director Joe Russo confirmed that in order to convincingly play Wakanda's heir apparent T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman kept strictly in character throughout shooting. Russo said, "Chadwick is a very method actor. He shows up on set in character, stays in accent because he finds it's helpful for him to be transformative. For the entire run of the production, he spoke in that accent, whether he was on camera or not. He's that kind of actor. He has a very specific process. It's a very intense performance." Considering that Boseman has gained a reputation for delivering chameleonic performances as real-life figures in recent years, namely Jackie Robinson, James Brown, and Thurgood Marshall, his commitment to character isn't actually that surprising. When it comes to that tricky Wakandan accent, keeping up the facade throughout shooting has to be helpful, and it's one that he clearly kept as his MO for the shooting of Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War. Number 5. Christian Bale's insane weight gain and refusal to break character. Batman Begins. Christian Bale is well known for his fierce commitment to pretty much every role that he takes on, to the point that he's lost a staggering 62 pounds for 2004's The Machinist, and immediately after shooting wrapped there, he started gaining 100 pounds over a mere matter of months for Batman Begins. Bale was so committed to looking suitably swole to play the Batman that he actually overshot his weight goal, and Warner Brothers had to ask him to lose a little weight in order to look less bulky for the film's frantic action scenes. In addition to his inhuman weight yo-yoing, Bale also had the name on his trailer door read as Bruce Wayne rather than his own. It's a small touch compared to the intense weight gain perhaps, but along with him maintaining Bruce's American accent throughout production, clearly worked wonders for keeping him in character. Bale has stated that the main motivation for his intense method acting is that he otherwise struggles to stay in character. So you know what, you can't knock the guy's dedication, that is for sure. Number 4. Paul Rudd wore the Ant-Man suit on his off days. Ant-Man. Paul Rudd was perfectly cast as Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, and while he didn't drastically alter his body weight or send dead animals to anyone in order to get into the mindset, he did put in plenty of extracurricular time into the Ant-Man suit itself. Rudd said, "I loved wearing it because it was not that uncomfortable, and even on my days off, I'd wear it. It helped me feel the part. There's something that happens when you get in that thing that it's inevitable. I would stand differently. I would feel like Ant-Man in that thing." A superhero costume is, of course, a prop like any other, and it's not terribly surprising that a great suit can help an actor really feel like a true hero. The idea of Rudd eating his breakfast in his trailer with the suit on, though, is pretty hilarious. Number 3. Sebastian Stan was clueless for real due to Marvel's secrecy. Avengers Infinity War. So while shooting Avengers Infinity War, Sebastian Stan has commented that much of the Bucky role that he played involved him being kept in the dark regarding a pervasive mystery, something that Marvel made very easy for him to relate to because he actually spent the entire shoot without seeing a finished script. Now this is common practice for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but Infinity War's production was especially secretive, with Stan and other actors only receiving their lines on the day of shooting. Stan said, "Between the writers and Kevin and the Russos, everybody kind of guesses their next move, so to speak, and I feel like they know very well what I'll be bringing. I'm going to be handed a piece of paper, and then I'm going to go and do the scene." While the lack of prep time may have proven detrimental to other members of the Infinity War cast, for a character like Bucky, being kept at arm's length allowed Stan to easily identify with him. It's a weird and almost enforced brand of method acting for sure, but method acting it absolutely is all the same. Number 2. Heath Ledger locked himself in a hotel for a month. The Dark Knight. Though a lot of sensationalist spiel has been written about Heath Ledger's method performance as the Joker in The Dark Knight contributing to his death, it's important to remember that Ledger finished shooting his role several months before he died. However, Ledger's commitment to the role was undeniably first-rate all the same, sealing himself away from society in order to get into the Clown Prince of Crime's demented headspace. Ledger said of the preparation period, "I sat around in a hotel room in London for about a month, locked myself away, formed a little diary, and experimented with voices." Following Ledger's death, there was an intense speculation about the content of his Joker's diary and how deeply he truly entrenched himself within the character. A few years ago, Ledger's father revealed aspects of the diary, namely that the actor glued pictures of his influences inside along with writing all of his dialogue down and eerily scrawling "bye-bye" on the last page. In spite of Ledger's tragic demise, the role remains by far the most acclaimed performance in the history of comic book movies, winning Ledger a well-earned Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. And number 1, Nicolas Cage channeled spirits to become Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider. Nicolas Cage's zany off-kilter acting style is well known amongst his fans, being responsible for numerous Nick Cage losing his montages on YouTube, not to mention a Best Actor Oscar for his fantastic work as a terminal alcoholic in 1995's Leaving Las Vegas. Cage employs a special acting technique that he refers to as nouveau shamanic, which allows him to create a performance that apparently transcends the very notion of acting, where the performance no longer feels like a lie, but real to the actor himself. Cage said of his prep for both Ghost Rider movies that it occurred to me because I was doing a character as far out of our reference point as a spirit of vengeance that I could use these shaman techniques. I would paint my face with black and white makeup to look like an Afro-Caribbean icon known as Baron Samedi, or an Afro-New Orleans icon who is also called Baron Saturday. And I would put black contact lenses in my eyes so that you could see no white and no pupil, so I'd look more like a skull or a white shark on attack. On my costume, my leather jacket, I would sew in ancient, thousands-of-year-old Egyptian relics and gather bits of tourmaline and onyx and would stuff them into my pockets to gather those energies together and shock my imagination into believing that I was augmented in some way by them or in contact with ancient ghosts. I would walk on the set looking like this, loaded with all these magical trinkets, and I wouldn't say a word to my co-stars or crew or directors. I saw the fear in their eyes, and it was like oxygen to a forest fire. I believed I was the Ghost Rider. Whew, well, I've only got one thing to say to that. Holy shit, mate. That is the most Nicolas Cage thing I've ever heard. And what more needs to be said here? Brilliant. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 comic book movie performances only made possible by intense method acting. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. If you want to chat to me further, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, my personal gaming channel where I stream every single Wednesday and Sunday. But before I go, my friends, I just want to say one thing. We detailed today a lot about actors who tried to get into one role by convincing themselves that they were that person. But you know what, my friends? You don't need to put on an act. You are a great person. You deserve love, happiness, and success. You are a big ledge in my eyes, so don't pretend to be another person in order to win favor with apparent friends or other people. You don't need to do that. All you need is some self-love. And also to remember that no one has the right to make you feel bad about yourself, okay? Now go out there and absolutely smash it. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.